Whoa.
Welcome to episode 21. I am here with my friend, Mr. Burt Reynolds, Mr. George
Thank you for
Costanza
having me.
himself. Absolutely,
Ouch.
showing a little skin. All right, we are
Yeah.
getting into it. Yeah, showing a little. This whole region, he said, I gotta be free. I gotta be free. He said, I gotta feel the democracy surging.
The
All right.
democracy.
So, welcome to episode 21 of Planet Film. Now, as those of you might know, we are doing this a little bit a day late and a dollar short. It will be a little bit of a shorter show this week just because we had planned to do it in advance.
Yeah.
Many of you know, have listened to the show and have watched the show, you know, I am back to work, TJ's back to work, the schedule is a little hectic. But next, one thing I can definitely tell you because I already know my schedule, next week's show will be live 8 p.m. just like normal.
Big announcement.
Big announcement. Oh, just that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty good announcement. So it will just be like a regular show. Next Tuesday will be fine. I get out of work at 6, so I get out of work basically just a little bit after TJ. So we'll be totally fine to hit that 8 p.m. mark with a full show, you know, news, everything. We'll just do the same thing we normally do. And then also this Saturday will be the very first episode of Planet Council. Not the very first, but the return of Planet Council, because I have worked the last 2 Saturdays in a row, so it's kind of been crappy for that show. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to try to actually make that a show every 2 weeks, so that we can kind of talk about, like this Saturday, we're going to talk about episode 1 and episode 2 of The Mandalorian. And then we won't have it the following week, but we'll have it the week after that to talk about 3 and 4. If you guys listen to our episodes of Planet Council on The Mandalorian, it's exactly how we did it then. We would break down 2 episodes a show. And it would still be, you know, like a 45-minute to like an hour and 10-minute at the longest show. It's still going to be shorter than, you know, this show typically is. Because it's just, you know, we're just trying to recap Mandalorian. And definitely, you know, it's a pain that we couldn't get it done this week because episode 1 could be, we could do a podcast just about
a
episode
whole hour
1.
probably on that.
Yeah, we could do a whole show about episode 1. Like, I mean, I'm sorry, I should call it chapter 9.
Yeah. I just want to say real quick, last week I announced that we would be editing the audio natively, so our audio would sound a little better. After about an hour and a half, after about trying to edit down an hour and a half show, you don't realize, I never realized how big the delay is on audio doing it not in the same room. It is crazy. So I'm still going to do that. We're still going to take the audio files that we're recording separately and then put them on one track and then release it as the podcast on the podcast services. It'll just probably be up. I want to say it'll probably be up Wednesday nights going to Thursday, midnight. So tonight, since it's a shorter show, I think we'll be able to get it done. Yeah. Especially because we're starting earlier. But I would say going forward after live shows on Tuesdays, they'll probably be up Wednesday night to Thursday.
Yeah. That way, TJ just has the full time to give you guys, you know, we're really big on, we're trying to get the audio experience up for you guys, you know, make it a little bit better. Just so that, you know, and also he's going to try and edit it, you know, cut out some pauses, just so that the audio, I know a lot of people, you know, I myself, better. Obviously, love listening to it. You know, if you're working out, myself, I listen to podcasts almost exclusively when I'm at work, when I'm just like doing stuff that's not customer based, I'll listen to podcasts, especially when I'm driving, I'll listen to podcasts. So you want it to be a tight conversation, you know. So the editing is really important to us and definitely really important to TJ. He's trying to, you know, take that undertaking on. And, you know, just giving it a full 24 hours. It's just to make sure that the editing is ready. Because, you know, like you guys know, it's just the 2 of us. Just me and TJ. So we got to work around our own actual job schedules and stuff like that. And try to find time to work everything in, which we are trying to do every week for you guys. And like we said, this is the show that we are dedicating. If it has to be 1-day push, 2-day push, we are dedicated to getting this show done at least once a week. We are not going to be skipping the main show at all. If we have to pre-record it in advance, if we have to do it a couple days late, we'll work it out. But either way, we are definitely dedicated to doing this show. And like we said, next Tuesday will be a live show just like normal at 8 p.m. Eastern time. At which time, hopefully, we will have a new president. And we could just talk about that briefly here. Wow. You like how, or you guys know how, me and TJ are pretty, I would say, overtly political people, but we try to keep the talk to a minimum on the show.
Yeah.
But last week, especially with Borat, because the Borat is very political, and it's nice. Premier Trump. We were working with that. So we talked about it a lot last week, and then tonight, obviously, even last night, if we did do the show on Tuesday, that would have been even more talk about it. But now that we're kind of, as Walter Cronkite might say, or Jim Carrey in Bruce Almighty, that's the way the cookie crumbles. We are definitely figuring out how the cookie is crumbling with this election, and it is a beautiful chocolate chip. It's
tight. It's tight.
It's tight, but hopefully soon it will not be. I would say there's a clear front runner right now that TJ asked me right before we went on air, actually as we were on air, but the intro was rolling. He said, how I went to sleep last night. Was I like a little worried about it, or did I kind of just put it out of my mind? I was definitely worried about it. I came home. Me and Brianna, my roommate, we watched a little bit of it as I was eating my 11 p.m. dinner, because that's when I get out of work. And we were kind of just worried. A lot of things were really slow going, and it wasn't really looking good. But then this morning when we woke up, tons of stuff had changed, and Biden really started going, and a lot of that is because the early voting and the voting by mail it takes longer to count, and I think they said it's something like 70. Actually, Biden himself said it, something like 77 to 78% of all early voting and all vote by mail in the country is coming up Biden. And that's pretty much...
I didn't even know that when you said that. I was like, where did you get this information from?
And pretty much at this point, the only... right now, there's 6 states left that are still counting. Or no, I'm sorry, 5, because I just forgot. Right before we went on, Arizona called for Biden. So there's 5 left. There's 5 left that are still counting. But, I mean, of those 5, the only thing they're counting at this point, everything that voted yesterday is done. So the only thing they're counting at this point is the advanced stuff. And like we said, 78% of the advanced voting is coming up Biden. So you could kind of fill in the blanks there on how that's going to work. So basically, we're just waiting now. At this point, Joe Biden needs one more state. And he is leading.
And it's pretty sure it's going to be Nevada.
Yeah, and Nevada was going to be a holdover from Clinton in 2016, too, because that typically goes Democratic because of Vegas.
No, what was I going to say? I forgot. But there's call for recount in Wyoming, I believe it was. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah. And again, he won he's winning Wyoming, because I'm sure they're not finished yet. I don't know. But he had 200,000 plus over Trump. So it's if you recount, you're not going to find 200,000 errors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's just crazy. He's basically it's I think it's time to take time to flush the goldfish down the toilet. I think it's time to take the tabby cat out to the farm,
I'm just interested to see what happens in these next coming months, I don't know. I'm interested to see how this goes, because again, we'll get off this topic in about 2 seconds, but I just when somebody says that they will basically not go quietly into the night, I just don't know what that looks like. Because I always tell people
Michael Caine in Interstellar, that's what it looks like.
Yeah. When people say that, I'm always when people say that he says that, I'm like, how is that even a thing? How can you even how does that even work? You go, no, I'm not leaving.
Honestly, dude, I think we're watching it. I think we're literally watching it happen. I think he is gonna cratch and he's gonna, what did I just say? Cratch? He's gonna scratch and
crash
claw.
And burn.
Yeah, he's gonna scratch and claw his way, to stay in that White House any way he can. But yeah, so we'll see how it goes. I'm sure we'll talk about it next week. Because right now, it's still a divisive topic, but once there's a person elected president, there's nothing divisive about that. It becomes a fact. So I'm sure we will talk about it more next week. And like we said, we'll have a little bit more time next week as well. Just because I do only have this and another day off, so we're trying to keep it a nice short show right now. And just because there wasn't much news this week. But yeah, so without further ado, let's go ahead and just jump right in. We're really only doing two main topics today, and that's our review and also a remembrance or a look back on the career of somebody who we reference and imitate on this podcast all the time. A sharer of my namesake, the great Sir Sean Connery, passed away this past week. He passed away on Saturday night. At the age of 90, he obviously was a very prolific actor, worked, right up to the bitter end of the production of LXG, and then promptly said, well, that was a piece of shit. I'm not doing it again.
No, he made another movie. That was his last
what
live
did he
action.
Do? You're right. He did that dragon movie, right?
No, Sir Billy. He did Sir Billy, an animated film.
Shit. Hang on.
Watch on Prime Video now. Apparently, it's available on Amazon Prime. Not very good. Not rated
Really?
an hour 16 with a 3.5 out of 10 in user ratings on IMDb. Not even a Metacritic score. That was the last film he did.
Wow.
In 2012. I don't know if you want to count it, but
well, you know what I have to say to that.
What do you have to say?
You're the man now, dog.
Exactly.
That's the one. That's the one right
I've
there.
never seen that movie, but that's the only line I know from it.
Yeah, that's the one right there.
Now,
Man, you look back. Do we want to what? Sorry.
Do we want to just go through and say like what, I guess we remember about him? Because I mean, obviously, what I am probably more
I think we
talk
just
about.
I think we just open the floor with his biggest role, obviously.
Yeah.
Which I will say this is one of the places everybody sometimes they go like Sean knows more about this than TJ does, like TJ is asking him a question. This is without a doubt. I mean, I'm a big fan of this franchise, but this guy here, we're talking with Ian Fleming himself right now, ladies and gentlemen. This is
no, I would not go that
far. But this is the biggest Bond aficionado and on this side of the podcast circuit, on this side of the Mississippi. So let's go ahead and I'll just open the floor to TJ. Talk about what you want to talk about with Sean Connery's portrayal of the famed super spy Jimmy Bond. Jimmy Bondings. Let's go.
Jimmy Bond. Well, personally, he's probably my favorite Bond, I'd have to say. I think for me, it's probably Sean Connery and then Daniel Craig. He just like encapsulated the role so amazingly. Like he put it on the map. Like if he doesn't, I mean, maybe they're still making the movies. But I feel like if he doesn't nail that role, it's not the franchise it is today. I mean, how many movies did he do? I feel like he did like 6.
I think he did 7 though, because he did the later
one. He did
one,
like the spin-off. Yeah. And they did start off well. They start off very good, and then they kind of, in my opinion, they decreased in quality from there. Mm-hmm. Like the last official one he did, Diamonds Are Forever. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think that was one that personally I did not like.
Don't forget about never say never again.
Never say never again. Yeah, that's the spinoff, right? If I remember correctly.
That's like, well, it's like the unofficial.
Yeah, whatever, that one wasn't bad. That one was actually, I thought, better than the later ones. Mm-hmm. But like last time, like again, I'm going like purely based off memory because last time when I started watching these, it was probably last year. Mm-hmm. Like Sean says, I probably know more about him in the franchise, but I'm still relatively new to it. So I'm still like working my way through all the movies, up to Daniel Craig. But
are you up to Quantum of Solace, or did you?
I finished that one.
You get to Skyfall yet?
I'm yet to watch Skyfall, so I'm on Skyfall.
So you only have 2 more left in the whole franchise.
Yeah. But like in those films, he was amazing, and of course, I'm sure you're going to talk about it.
Oh, we can save it. We can save it.
Well, what? I don't know. Are we sure? Are we talking about the same thing? Are we talking about Last Crusade?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. He's phenomenal in that movie. Again, Sean's probably seen more Sean Connery movies than I have. Like, I haven't seen Hunt for Red October or The Rock or, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Welcome to The Rock.
He just had like that like suaveness about him.
And the voice.
I always remember specifically, like, it was definitely like months apart where I would be like, is Sean Connery still alive? And I'd be like, oh yeah, he's fine. Mm-hmm. And then it was just like one of those, like, every few months where I'd be like, oh yeah, he's still alive doing whatever he's doing. But yeah, he was an icon, especially for that role, but he also did like millions of other movies.
Oh yeah. So many.
Do you want to, what do you have to say?
Don't forget about his star-turning role in Wrong is Right as Patrick Hale.
Oh,
I have no idea what the hell that is. You look through this: Highlander, The Untouchables, Last Crusade, as we said, which we obviously will get to, Hunt for the Red October. All of these movies. I mean, absolutely crazy. The Rock. Don't forget, he was the villain in the Avengers movie in 1998 as the first. The remake, not of the Avengers, but of the Avengers old BBC show or old British show from the
August
60s.
The Winter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, didn't do very well.
Yeah.
Thanks.
not very good. But yeah, I mean, you look at, obviously Highlander, like that's like obviously has become an iconic film, say what you will about it, but his role in that is amazing. The Untouchables, obviously that's a movie. I just saw somebody wanted to get going a proper 4K remaster and re-release, like for a steelbook for The Untouchables. And again, also with The Untouchables, you got to talk about that's where he won the Oscar for best supporting actor that year for The Untouchables. Obviously, that was late in his career too, 1987. Yeah. Not at the end of his career, but partway through. Just 1 second. Okay. And then obviously, I'll talk a little bit about Hunt for the Red October, and then we'll wrap up with Crusade. Oh, welcome to the chat, Dylan. Thanks so much for joining us. Yeah, join the conversation. All right. But yeah, you look at this, obviously Hunt for the Red October, one of the many, many Jack Ryan in the, kind of whatever you want to call it, Jack Ryan-averse. Where you have it's similar to James Bond. You have everything kind of set. Some actors carry over, some side actors carry over, but it's just kind of set in this loose universe where the Jack Ryan actor keeps changing. Obviously you've had obviously in Hunt for the Red October it was Alec Baldwin. Then you had a great role, and speaking of Last Crusade, Harrison Ford as Jack Ryan in a few films. Yeah. Chris Pine, and then obviously now with John Krasinski. But a huge character. And this was really, this was the big one. This is the big one that put up that character, into the next level, made him a movie star character in Jack Ryan. And obviously Sean Connery playing one of the best characters of his career, I would say. I'm not going to get into the plot details on this. If you feel like you are okay with getting spoiled, definitely go listen to the Cinephiles episode with Steve Morris and John Roca. Look up the Cinephiles, Cine-Files, and look up the Hunt for the Red October episode, because they do an amazing deep dive into it. And it is so good. So much better than we could give it the credit for right now. Also, go listen to their episode on Last Crusade, which actually they are re-releasing right now. They just re-released it on the on their podcast feed.
Yeah, part one.
Yeah, part one, to put it back out there again for people that haven't heard their episode on it. But it's really good. But definitely give a listen to their Hunt for the Red October one, because that is just amazing. The way that Steve Morris can break down a script and go through a movie is amazing. But yeah, I'm not going to get into the plot here because Sean Connery's character is so layered and intricate to the plot. Just go watch the film. from where Sean Connery's character in that film starts and where you think it's going to go versus where it ends up going will blow your mind. And you'll be like, how is this guy not nominated every single second of his life?
Hey, he only has one nomination, one win for an Oscar.
Yeah,
that was
exactly.
for The Untouchables.
Yeah, and he did win the BAFTA for Hunt for the Red October, which is basically the British version of the Oscars. But still not an Oscar. But yeah, he did at least get the credit at the BAFTAs for Hunt for the Red October, which he absolutely rightfully deserved. So let's talk about it here. We named the dog Indiana. We got right here. I mean, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. If you are a dedicated listener or watcher of the Planet Film shows, you will know that TJ and I, and it definitely bleeds over into our real life conversations. We quote this movie specifically. We quote Sean Connery from this movie to each other almost on a daily basis. My roommate's brother is a junior, so whenever I talk about him, I go Junior, because that's what everybody calls him, and I cannot help anytime the word Junior comes out of my mouth, just saying it in the Sean Connery voice. Just so many great lines, like I'm just as good as the next man. I was the next man. Like
I don't know what cracked me up so much about this one scene is when Indiana breaks into the castle and he clocks him over the head with a vase and he's and the Nazi guy comes, I forget his name. He comes in with the girl. He's like, "I'll kill her," and he goes, "Go ahead." It's one of the funniest things I've heard.
I love in that scene too when he hits him over the head with it, and he go like, "That was Ming Dynasty," and then he goes, but then he goes, "Oh, it's a fake, Indiana, it's a fake," and he's like, he gets so excited because he's like, he thinks that like this is like another stolen art piece that the Nazis have stolen, and that like his son just broke this, and then he just goes, "Oh, it's a fake, Indiana, or it's a fake Junior," because he doesn't call him Indiana yet.
Can you remember the Charlemagne line?
Oh my god, I just can't. I can't. Oh my god, and then also we need to talk about too, as funny as he is in Last Crusade, if you're a fan of Indiana Jones as a character, if you're a fan of the 4 movies, he is and he only appears in one movie as his father. He appears in like I think archival footage and then like a photograph in the 4th one.
I was gonna say, did they want him to come back for that? And he was like, no.
Yeah, I think they wanted him to, like, for a scene. But I think it was just easy enough. I think they just wrote wrote that he died or whatever, because he does.
Not that he would have made the movie any better, but
yeah, because he does appear in like archival footage, and then there's like the scene where like Henry's like looking at the picture of him on his desk, and he's like, "Oh, I don't know what to do, Dad." Like you, and then he's like, and then he just goes, "You're the man now, dog." Like, oh man, Sean Connery, what a legend. But yeah, no, but seriously, but as we were talking about, as funny as he is in Last Crusade, the emotional levels that Sean Connery goes to in this movie and brings to Harrison Ford's performance. Their chemistry is some of the best on-screen chemistry, especially for like a father and son relationship that I think has ever been on screen. And that's huge to do coming into the 3rd movie of a franchise, that's known for its action adventure qualities, and kind of bringing that emotional weight into the role is really, really, really incredible that he was able to do that. And then of course we were going to pull up a clip, but with the whole the DMCA, I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to get the video flagged for copyright reasons for just showing a clip of the movie. Yeah. But the emotional scene at the end, spoilers for a almost 40-year-old movie, or 31-year-old movie, sorry. Spoilers for a 31-year-old movie, but at the end, the whole, I'll just put up real quick. I'll put up real quick the spoiler warning, because this is a big spoiler for the movie, but we got to talk about it. All right, so you got the spoiler warning at the top of the screen. It's just a quick thing, but just mute us. Don't turn it off or anything. Just mute us if you don't want to get spoiled for it. But the whole movie, they're looking for the Holy Grail. That's what the Last Crusade is. They're trying to find the Holy Land. What's it called in Hebrew? Jehovah starts with an I. The
petulant man will pass.
The petulant man shall pass. Junior, the petulant man shall pass.
My God.
The cup of a carpenter. What's it called? So, anyways, leap into the.
This movie, man. It's crazy.
Leap into the lion's mouth.
You could argue it's the best one.
Oh, it's not an argument. For me, Last Crusade is always going to be the best Indiana Jones film. No matter, I mean, we'll see what if anybody's going to do the fifth one justice, it's going to be James Mangold. You know what I mean? I'm super excited for that. We'll see what happens. I don't know. Steven Spielberg sat him down. He said, James, you got to take this over. You're the man now, dog. But really, all right, we're in the spoiler section. So they find the Grail at the end, and the whole point is that their relationship was so strained because after Indiana's mother died, his father just threw himself into the search for the Holy Grail. His entire life, his father was just trying to look for the Holy Grail, just trying to get this done and find this thing. And then at the end of the movie, they find it. And Indiana has this, there's this huge emotional moment where, you think that Sean Connery is going to die in the film. You think his father is dead. And rather than use the Holy Grail on himself to give himself, everlasting life and everlasting youth, he gives it and uses it on his father to save his father from death. It's one of the most emotional moments of the scene. Or of the movie, and then one of the villains, the girl in the film, Elsa, she tries to take the cup out of the cave, and so the cave starts to close in on itself, and basically the Grail falls onto a ledge of this cliff, and Indiana's trying to reach for it, and Indiana's about to die, and is so wrapped up in trying to grab it that he doesn't realize it, and his father at the last second grabs him and delivers one of the most emotional lines of the film, probably the most emotional line of the film, and he just says, Indiana, let it go. And then the music, the John Williams music kicks in, and it's just... And it's like the most emotion. It's just amazing. And also it's the first time in the film that he calls him Indiana. And that's what kind of gets him out of the groove, because the whole movie is putting him down saying, why do you call yourself that? That's not your name. Your name's Henry. And he's like, and then, it's the first time.
You're not a dog.
Yeah. And then at the end of the movie, of course, the great line, we named the dog Indiana. Yeah. But it's one of the best moments of the whole film. He finally calls him Indiana. He finally... To quote John Roca, talk about the father and sons, as obsessed, John Roca is with father and sons dynamics in film. It's finally, just to go a little cinephiles on you guys, it's the moment where, the father finally gives the respect that the son felt he earned a long time ago. You know what I mean? It's finally that moment where it's not father and son anymore. It's two archaeologists, two friends, two men that respect each other and respect where they are at in life and how they've gotten there. It's one of the most beautiful moments. I think it's one of the most beautiful moments that Steven Spielberg has ever directed. I think it's one of the most beautiful moments that, George Lucas has ever written, or, Jeffrey Boehm also wrote it with him. But just the whole movie, just in turn, and I'm sure we'll review the indie movies one day on this. I'm sure we will. But honestly, in terms of writing and stuff, I really do think some of the best writing that George Lucas has ever done in his life is in the Indiana Jones franchise.
Yeah, no doubt.
But yeah, just a fantastic performance, and it's a terrible loss. But he was 90 years old. He had been retired. Like
very
you said,
full life.
Exactly, like you said. Yeah. Besides Sir Billy, which we cannot forget about Sir Billy. What?
You've never seen that? Don't say you talk
did
like
you
you've
look?
Seen it.
Did you look at the poster?
The Sir Billy poster?
Yeah, please pull it up.
Yeah.
You're looking at the one on IMDb?
Yeah.
What is this movie?
I don't know.
It's like
Alan Cumming, Ruby Max.
It's like a.
This is definitely one of those movies where he got paid like a lot of money just to be in it.
Okay, I don't even know what I'm looking at right now.
Hey, we all have our misses, all right?
It made $5 million.
Hey.
Oh, no, never mind. No, it didn't. Never mind. It cost $5 million. It made, get ready for this, guys. This is the worldwide gross. It cost $5.2 million. It made. TJ, do you have a guess?
$100K.
$15,000 and
wow.
$15,838.
Well, that was a miss.
Oh, you're the man now, dog.
Yeah. Apparently.
All right. Well,
the person who directed it never went on to direct anything else.
Of course. But yeah, I mean, so great life lived. Like you said, a nice full life. Absolutely. Starring in 7 James Bond films between 1962 and 1983.
Wow.
You obviously include this the unofficial one in his turn as Bond, because it is a Bond movie and it is him playing Bond. So in that, you take into consideration he's tied for Daniel Craig, I think, with the most Bond films after this one comes out, but obviously Sean Connery played the role for almost 21 years.
I think Daniel Craig has technically been Bond longer because of the gap between the movies.
That's true, true, yeah. But what's it called? But yeah, and we'll see. He might smash that record for being the longest, depending on how long No Time to Die gets delayed.
That's very true. Yeah,
it could be a movie coming out in 2024. Jesus,
who the hell knows?
I know. But yeah, I mean, absolutely incredible. So let's go ahead and let's just change gears here. We're gonna go ahead. Oh, let me take the spoiler warning off. Sorry. We're just gonna go ahead and we are gonna give the review of. We're gonna go right into our review here. Let's just take a quick break just for the audio listeners, so that we can insert our little ad spot there, so that we can make the pennies that this pays us. Nice. So just 1 second. We will be right back. No, we are live. We are live.
You didn't say that.
Oh, whoops. Well, yeah, we are live. I just figured it's easier for the YouTube.
Okay.
But because it'll just go right up. But we are live and we are back. So as we do
IMDb.
Each and every week, as we do each and every week, we will go ahead and break down some of the information for the film that we are reviewing this week, which there is no box office on because it was a straight to Netflix film.
Yeah, I don't even think Netflix said maybe
how much it did.
How many? Yeah.
But yeah, let's go ahead and you want to tell us what we are reviewing and give us some information.
Okay, we are reviewing Trial of the Chicago 7. So quick description, came out 2020. The story of 7 people on trial stemming from various charges surrounding the uprising at the 1968 Democratic National Convention in Chicago, Illinois. Directed by Aaron Sorkin, written by Aaron Sorkin. And then just got a lot of big names in this film. So we got Eddie Redmayne, Alex Sharp, Sacha Baron Cohen, Jeremy Strong, John Carroll Lynch, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and Michael Keaton, who's probably in it for a good 10 minutes, but he's still in it. And I'd say actually he makes the most of his screen time, in my opinion. And that's about it. Oh, Mark Rylance.
Mark Rylance, yeah.
Yeah, I when I was watching, I was like, that guy looks so familiar. And I was like, I don't know him. Or maybe Danielle said it too.
It's what's his name? James Halliday from Ready Player One. How could you forget?
Yeah. I've only seen that movie once.
Stole the Oscar from Stallone.
Alex Sharp, if I didn't say that already. So
I'd
I'd
say
it's like the...
Did you say Frank Langella?
No, I missed him.
Yeah, as the judge.
Oh, he's a judge.
Oh yeah.
Oh, my Lord. We'll get to the judge.
Oh, we will talk about the judge. Old Tricky Dick himself is back.
Those are the big names, I'd say. We got a big cast, a lot of big cast of characters, a lot of I'd say comedy almost. There's a lot of comedic relief. But we'll talk about it a little bit more. So do you wanna go first? Give your initial thoughts?
Sure, yeah, I will go first. So for those who don't know, our reviews just kind of work. TJ breaks down what the plot is. I give the box office information if it is a theatrical movie, or if it ever was, like if there's any box office info, I give that. And then we basically just break down. We'll take turns giving our non-spoiler reviews, or non-spoiler thoughts, and then we will rate the film, and then we'll go ahead and do a spoiler talk to close out the show. So yeah, I'll go ahead and give my first initial thoughts. I think this film was incredible. I thought it was very, very good. I thought that some of the stuff that Aaron Sorkin has been working on lately has not hit as well for me as some of his more classic stuff. For those who know me, know that I am a huge fan of Newsroom, that show with Jeff Daniels that Aaron Sorkin wrote and directed some of and was the showrunner on. Also, obviously, his work with Steve Jobs, Social Network, Moneyball, which TJ just recently watched, which I am. I'm a huge fan of Moneyball. Yeah. That was a movie that I watched early on in quarantine. I watched Moneyball, very, very good. But yeah, I think it's definitely one of the best things that he has done in a while. I would say maybe since Steve Jobs. I wasn't a big fan of Molly's Game. I wasn't a big fan of that. I haven't seen that one. Yeah, I haven't seen much of West Wing, and I have not seen the new West Wing special that they did where they reunited everybody. Yeah. But in terms of directing, he is absolutely incredible as a director in this, and then also the writing as well. And then obviously the big standouts for me, I don't know if it's just because I've been on such a kick of his lately because of Borat, but to me, the absolute biggest standout of this film was Sacha Baron Cohen. I think, again, it just shows that he can do something like Borat. He can do stuff like Bruno, where you might think in its basic form, it is just something that, is just, oh, that guy is crazy. He's doing one of his wacky characters. But actually, I think that Bruno and Borat are two of the most telling characters that he can just become and just tear apart politics, celebrity, government, everything. Like he just cuts right through it. It's absolutely crazy. But aside from all of that work, I think he shows time and time again in a film like this, in a film like Les Mis, in something like Sweeney Todd, that he is a Hugo, all of that. He is absolutely one of the best dramatic actors working. Period. Absolutely. Period. Yeah. Like that is it. He is just absolutely one of the best dramatic actors working in Hollywood, hands down. He is so good in this film as Abby Hoffman, who obviously everybody in this is playing a real life character. Who Abby Hoffman is a very famous writer, very famous protester, just very famous person from back then in the 70s and 80s. And he plays him to a T in this, just so good, like you said. And honestly, and again, it's one of those things where, like TJ said, he is put in this movie. He is in this movie primarily as a deflation device, as a comedic relief device. But in the third act, as soon as the third act hits, he just flips a switch. And he becomes one of the most serious characters. It's the classic thing of you don't give this guy enough credit, and he's the one who's been paying attention to everything all along, and he's gonna swoop in and save the day at the last second because you underestimated him. He's exactly that type of character type, archetype, if you will. And I just think that he is so good in this. Not to take away from any of the other performances, I think the other big standouts for me, I would say, would actually be, I would say Michael Keaton, John Carroll Lynch, and Jeremy Strong for me. And then I think Eddie Redmayne is Eddie Redmayne's always good, and whatever it is. Also, something I had not thought about until this very moment. This is a re-teaming of Sacha Baron Cohen and Eddie Redmayne from Les Mis.
Oh, okay.
I didn't even think about that until right now. Yeah, and like their characters like primarily interacted in Les Mis too. I didn't even think about that until right now. So it must have been nice for them to work together.
Jeremy Strong's Sacha Baron Cohen's like friend, right? It's like the pair
Jerry.
of them, right?
Okay. Yeah, he's the one with like the long hair and the beard.
Yeah, I probably just have to say like I thought he was more comedic. Like Sacha Baron Cohen, I felt like switched between the two, where he was more. He was drama, and then he was like funny for a minute or two, and then he was again serious. Whereas Jeremy Strong's character was more, more the relief. I would say he still had his serious moments. I mean, we'll
especially with
talk about it. With the woman. But
definitely.
Stuff like that. Yeah. So I thought the film was very good. Just a few like quick like problems I've had. Like one, like Eddie Redmayne's, this is nothing to have to do with the movie really. Eddie Redmayne's accent I thought was awful. And I think Danielle actually said it too, where his accent is just like it just didn't do it for me. Like I get like he's and most of these, not actually, I don't know about everybody, but like Sacha Baron Cohen and Eddie Redmayne, they're not American, and they're playing American historical figures. So I mean, I guess you kind of have to have that accent in some way. Sacha Baron Cohen I thought was fine, but Eddie Redmayne I just like I couldn't get past his accent.
I mean, Sacha too is like he's like an accent and impression king. You know what I mean? Like he's very good at it.
I like the way that the film was structured. So once there's a big event, we'll go to Sacha Baron Cohen in a comedy club telling the story of how it happened, or they use some archival footage throughout, which I thought was cool. I love it when movies like bring in like real life pictures and video from that time and show it. And it was really like it was just I had no idea about this. Like I had never heard of this. Maybe I heard about it in history and when I was in middle school or whatever.
Yeah, same.
I just I
didn't know the story.
The other quick problem I had with it is that I heard that basically everything that happened to Yahya Abdul-Mateen's character was way worse than what he portrayed, which I kind of have a problem with, because it's kind of like, if you're going to tell the story, like tell the go all the way with it.
Go all the way.
Don't which again, we'll talk about the judge, who I mean, I hated the judge, but Danielle like despised that character, and apparently he was way worse in real life, which it's kind of hard to imagine, because I thought they portrayed him terribly in this. Like I thought he was like the biggest asshole, but apparently he was even like a more gigantic asshole. With Yahya Abdul-Makeen's character being, choked in court, which is obviously terrible.
Bound and gagged in a American courtroom.
Like apparently that went on for way longer than whatever,
than 5 minutes.
In the movie it happens for like an hour, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
That's about it. And obviously they skip around, like they don't go. The court hearing was probably like, I don't know, 200 some days or something like that. So they kind of skip around.
Yeah, they don't show every single day.
Yeah, but that's just like one of the small problems.
There would be moments where they would be like, that'll be your, like the judge would be like, that'll be your 7th contempt of court, and then like the next scene they would be like, bailiff mark or secretary mark that down as his 20th contempt of court. You know what I mean? Like to show you the passage of time, and they would also throw up how many days it had been.
Mark Rylance, I thought, showed really good drama, like chops, in my opinion. I thought he was very good as their lawyer. Yeah. Especially when, the judge is like, you have a lawyer right next to you, and he's like, I'm not his lawyer. Like he like screams out, and I thought that was really good. And I thought John Carroll Lynch was really good.
I thought absolutely. I got I'm showing pictures of the film when you're talking. Let me go back to John Carroll Lynch, because I thought here's a picture of him and Sacha, but I thought John Carroll Lynch, and this is another reteaming too. John Carroll Lynch and Michael Keaton back together again for I think the third time. I think, but they're great together in The Founder, story about McDonald's. Great film.
Oh, Founder was good. Yeah,
great film. Another fantastic John.
He's
Carroll
one of the
Lynch.
McDonald brothers.
Yeah, him and Nick Offerman are the two brothers. Another great John Carroll Lynch movie, and he's got way more screen time in that because he's like one of the three main characters. Yeah. But he is so good in that. Also, obviously Zodiac, but we don't even have to talk about that here because that's just one of the best movies of all time in my opinion. But John Carroll Lynch in this is so understated, and then such a big moment. He just had like, he's so understated, and he's the calm one. He's like, think about it, he's kind of like the dad of the revolution, you know what I mean? Like, he's kind of like the guy who's like, all right guys, no, turn it around, we do not need a fight right now, just turn around, it's okay, let's get you guys water, towels, what do you need, like that kind of stuff. Like, he's very much like, he talks about, he was like, well, yeah, I was a Boy Scout, like first class, or he was like, I literally am the leader of my local Boy Scout troop or something like that. And then he has a huge dramatic moment that, you know, obviously we can talk about. But yeah, it is absolutely incredible. Do
you want to give a quick star?
Yeah, sure. And then we'll go into spoilers to wrap it up. So for me, I think I would go 4.75 out of 5.
Okay. I would go 4. Just 4.5.
Really? Okay.
Out of 5. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I think I might have. I mean, I guess I might have liked it a little bit more than you. I think I liked it maybe a little bit more than most people. I feel like 4 was kind of the general consensus online. That you know, they were like, yeah, it was just a really, really good movie. I think it really connected with me. Again, I think I'm kind of biased because I'm on such a Sacha Baron Cohen kick right now. But yeah, absolutely incredible film to me. So you want to hop into spoilers?
Yeah.
All right. So do you want to? Like oh yeah. I was just gonna say, do you want to just just talk about John Carroll Lynch's moment for a second, since we were just on him?
I assume you're talking about when he punches the.
Yeah.
I don't even know what it was. He called what's his name? He calls him something.
He's
not
just
a sheriff,
one
like
of the
deputy.
Deputy, yeah, a court deputy, yeah.
He goes, and he. You know, I forget like what leads up to it.
He's got this great scene where he's
basically doing like a filibuster.
He just stands up. Yeah, he just stands up and he's just talking about it, and they're like, all right, you need to sit down. And they go, and because he's like, you know, got the suit on, he's like one of the, you know, older, you know, members of the Seven and stuff, like the deputy guy, as opposed to any of the other ones. If they did that, the deputy would like grab their shoulders and like throw him back in the chair. Like, he like grabs his arm, and John Carroll Lynch just keeps turning around and just going, you don't have to do that. You don't have to grab my arm. I'm almost done. Like, and then he grabs his arm again and he just goes, you don't have to do that. I'm sorry. Just 1 second. You don't have to do that to me. Yeah. And then he keeps talking, and then he grabs his arm again, and he just goes, and he just turns around and he just punches him, and he turns right back around and keeps talking like he didn't even realize what just happened. And then they tackle him and they push him on the table and stuff. And he just like snaps out of this like fugue state or whatever he was in, and he just goes, I'm sorry, what did I?
He goes, I just punched a deputy.
Yeah, he just said, I just punched a deputy. What? He's like, what did I just do? What just happened? Yeah. Like, he like had no clue what he did because he just was getting so passionate. That's what he was talking about. He was saying that that the judge was wasting their time. He was saying, if you decided that we're guilty, which you clearly did, don't we deserve a trial then? He said, don't we deserve a real trial? If you think we're guilty, then just give us a regular trial. And that's what he was saying, basically. And then he got arrested, and that was his big moment of the film. And then he has other big moments. He's a big character in the film. It's just that was his big kind of like, if you want to call it, that was like his big Oscar bait moment. You know what I mean? Kind of thing. What are some spoilers you want to talk about?
Well, we didn't really talk about him at all. I'm curious, what did you think of Joseph Gordon-Levitt in this?
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about him at all.
I feel like he's just kind of like not like a backseat, but like he's a pretty prominent character. I would say. Yeah. But overall, these other people, I feel like he's kind of back there.
I thought that he was going to be a bigger character than he ended up being.
Yeah.
So I thought that I thought that he was going to kind of have a much bigger arc in the film, that maybe he would be the classic, like it's not right that we're doing this type of thing. You know what I mean?
I mean,
like
he kind of he does that at the end. Not even actually. No, he doesn't.
No, he doesn't exactly.
Change, really,
no, he doesn't.
Only when they're
really,
reading the names off does he goes. His boss goes, "What are you doing?" He goes, "I'm standing for the fallen. Have some respect."
Yeah,
you know, and
then his boss like leaves.
Yeah, that's basically like his like only like shining armor moment. I would probably say, not even shining, and the just movie, like kind of a change of heart.
And this is our fault for watching the movie like this, but it's also kind of the movie's fault because you kind of fall into the trappings of what a film could be. Just 1 second. What time? Okay, I didn't change the clock on my computer, and I thought it was 8:11, and I was like, "What is happening?" So.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yes, thank you. So the movie kind of makes you feel like there's going to be this big redemptive arc for him because, like, you meet his kids at one point. You see that he's like a great father, like he's just trying to do the right thing. And it's just kind of one of those things where it just doesn't happen that way. But I mean, it's what happened in real life. If the guy wasn't redeemed in real life, I'm glad they didn't show it like that. Then you know what I mean. I don't want it to be a sanitized version, like you said, with the Yahya Abdul-Mateen's character. That's kind of sanitized already.
Yeah. He also like, I don't know how big he was in real life. Wait, what? Joseph Gordon-Levitt?
No, just the whole Yahya Abdul-Mateen character with Bobby Seale, all that. What did you think?
I thought that if that did actually happen, that's just disgusting, and I'm like ashamed. That was like, and again, it was dumbed down too. That's not even how bad it was. Even when they're showing the deputies gagging him and everything, it's brutal in a way because it shows it, but it doesn't show it continuously in one shot. It'll show them getting the stuff, then cut away, and then cut back, and then cut away again. So it's almost like kind of this, not like, I don't even know what to call it. Like, you don't know what's gonna happen. Like, it could go completely off the rails. And again, the judge, and at the end they're like, oh, he was seen as unfit to lead a courtroom, like whatever. I was like, but he still did that, and he was, like, what are his other cases like? Like, what are all those cases like? Like, did you see him in this one? Like, he's a fucking shithead.
Yeah, exactly.
And like, he just couldn't get through his skull that that was not his lawyer, that his lawyer was sick,
Yeah.
And I wish he had a bigger role, but then again, it's trying to be, true to what actually happened. So I don't actually know if Bobby Seale was more involved than he actually was.
Yeah.
In the movie. But yeah, that's what I thought of it. I thought Joseph Gordon-Levitt was good, but I thought his character was kind of just plain. But that might be the guy. That might be the guy in general. Or Aaron Sorkin wrote it like that. Just kind of make him where he's not cold. Like, he's not like I'm doing the business of the government, and I don't fucking care about you. Like, he obviously like cares somewhat, and you kind of see it at the end.
He's like, but he's gonna do, like, he's gonna do the work. Like, he's gonna put on that cold face, but he knows that he's putting on that. You know what I mean? Like,
he says at the beginning too, kind of when he gets the job to.
Yeah,
do what
he's like, I like, don't we want a fair trial? And he's like, no, that's not what I'm saying. Well, it's not what I hired you for. And he's like, all right. And then he's just like, kind of like goes with it. But yeah. But what would you say? What are some final spoiler thoughts? And then we'll go ahead and we'll talk a little bit about if we, recommend watching it or whatever, and some other thing.
Again, we alluded to it earlier. Oh my God, I always forget his name. Actually, Jeremy Strong.
Oh yeah.
His drama. I feel like everybody has like.
Everybody has a big moment
in this movie. Has like a moment.
Like Eddie Redmayne definitely at the end with this where they're playing the tape. Yep. Yeah.
That was definitely it. But Jeremy Strong and his when they're protesting and these frat guys, I guess. They're following the group of protesters, and this one girl is holding a sign, I think, or a flag.
The flag. She's just holding the American flag like this.
The American flag, and the frat guys are yelling at her to put the flag down, like, and they're calling her all these names and stuff. And it probably happens for a good like 10 minutes, and then when the protesters come back to the park, they have the cops are waiting there, and then when the protesters and cops kind of collide, the girl is on the ground, and the guys like are attempting to rape her, and Jerry Rubin comes in, and he kind of, starts like beating the guys up, like telling them to get out of here, kind of saves the girl. And he starts
giving her like water and tells her to like breathe into this, like,
and he covers her with his jacket. And of course the cop comes up and pulls a gun on him, basically thinking that Jerry Rubin was the guy who was trying to
rape her or something,
go after her. But in fact, he's the one who saved her. And I thought that was his big moment, I would say, for Mark Strong to kind of show off what he can do. And the other big moment I thought was when Sacha Baron Cohen and Eddie Redmayne are in the house and they're arguing. I thought that was a good moment for both of them.
That was going to be my other, well, not that one, but the one where they're right after they're talking about the tape that they got of Eddie Redmayne's character, and kind of the moment I alluded to in the non-spoiler where it's like, oh, this guy really is like the best one of us, Abby, like Sacha Baron Cohen, where he's like, he says something about like, you meant to say if our blood, and he's like, I've read all your work. You misuse. What does he say? He says you misuse
pronouns.
You leave out pronouns and you use misplaced noun substitutes or something. And he was like, you've read my work, and he was like, yeah, I've read everything you've ever written. And then like that's kind of the big Sacha Baron Cohen moment where you're like, damn, this guy is clearly. Yeah. Even though he doesn't act like it, he acts like nothing matters to him and stuff. He's clearly the one that cares about it the most, pays the most attention, and genuinely is probably the smartest one of the group.
And that's coming from Tom Hagen, or from Sacha Baron Cohen's character towards Tom Hagen. But Tom Hagen had stood up for the judge when everybody else sat, when they said all rise, and everybody was sitting. And Tom Hagen was the only guy, and he kept saying, it was a reflex. It was a reflex,
Yeah.
But that kind of like shows, they're, if they weren't already on the fence with this guy, they're completely off. Like they're not even close to being like near him. But like you said, his during his speech at that rally, that was also a big moment. I felt like for Eddie Redmayne, and showing kind of what he can do.
So what would you say, would you recommend this film? Should people go watch this?
I would recommend it. It's definitely not, in my opinion, Aaron Sorkin's like best movie. Obviously he didn't direct like Social Network. I think that'll be like written wise, like that'll be cream of the crop. Like everybody would be like, that's the best Aaron Sorkin written. But it's still, this one's still good. I have to look at what else has he directed. He directed Molly's Game.
Yeah, and I think this is up in terms of writing. I would put this on a level of like Steve Jobs.
Oh, he's only directed this in Molly's Game? Oh, I thought he directed
he's recently turned more into directing.
Okay.
But yeah, in terms of writing, I would put this up there with like Newsroom and like Steve Jobs and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like you said,
I would agree.
Not quite up there with Social Network, but still really, really good.
Yeah.
Really, really excellent.
Do you think this is better than Molly's Game, or do you like Molly's Game more?
No, I was not a fan of Molly's Game at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would definitely recommend it.
Yeah, same. I would definitely recommend it. I would say, most people, if you don't have a Netflix subscription, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
But yeah, but if you have Netflix, I would definitely watch it. It's not even a terribly long movie either, and it goes by pretty quick. It goes
by pretty quickly.
It's about 2 hours and 10 minutes. But the story is so gripping. You'll be locked in, and you won't even notice. You won't even notice the time. But yeah, I would definitely recommend this film. So yeah, like we said, it's definitely great film, and it's definitely going to be a shorter show this week. But we just wanted to do kind of a nice little nod to Sean Connery here and get this review done out for you guys for this really great film. But with that, I think that'll probably do it for us this week. Always make sure you go ahead and follow us on Instagram at planet_filmpod, right? Planet_filmpod.
Yeah.
Follow us on Twitter, on our Twitter feed at Planet Film Pod. And then you can follow me at Paste Eating Yak on Twitter. You want to give your Twitter?
Oh, at TJ_Cornwell. Sorry.
Perfect. Oh, no problem. And like always, my name is Sean Monk. Oh, and actually, remember, next week's show, we will post on all the social medias, but next week's show, we will be at the regular time, live, 8 p.m. on Tuesday night. Make sure you are followed on our socials, and the Planet Council, our Star Wars review show, comes back this Saturday with an episode review for Mandalorian Chapter 9 and Chapter 10. So, without further ado, I am Sean Monk.
And I'm TJ Cornwell.
And always remember to be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes. We'll catch you in the next